We came in the game confident that we were going to take care of business, but down the stretch of the game, a few things didn't go our way. Like for example, like our shot selection down the stretch wasn't as planned, and also we had turnovers, and then the points of turnovers, as you can see, the points of turnovers. They had more points of turnovers. That they capitalized on that, and which was the difference in the game, if you ask me. On the rebounding part, we did pretty well. We out-rebounded them, but you know, down the stretch, just maybe I think what really beat us, we shot ourselves in the foot with kind of our shot selection down the stretch. So I think that was the difference in the game. They were a little bit more patient with their possessions towards the end of the game than we were.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Now the coach Cliff Orr. You didn't win this game, but nothing is lost yet. So what are your expectations for this competition right now?
Yeah, we just need to refocus and take good care of the shots that we are supposed to take, make better decisions, especially when the shot clock is running down. I think we forced shots, whereas we find somebody who's open to give just an extra pass and get a shot off the buzzer. And then we need to do a better job, be a lot more disciplined on the offensive end by keeping the floor well spaced. And I think we'll get back in it.
This is the second game of the competition. This game you lost. You will change your strategy. Which strategy are you going to have in the next step?
It depends on whom we're meeting next. We need to actually identify who exactly we are meeting next, because after this loss, we're not sure whether we're number 1 or 2, and we see who we are meeting next, and we'll strategize accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask a question to the player. How can you explain this situation of 3 points? Because your statistic in 3 points was very, very bad.
Yeah, as I said before, I think when it comes to that, it comes down with the shot selection. Highly contested shots have a lower percentage chance of going in. So as players, we basically have to make a better decision. We only shot, damn. We were terrible, man, from 3, and you know, 3 for 23. That's
just so bad.
We can't win a game like that. So it comes down to the difference in this game, as I said before, it was the shot selection. So 3 for 23 is kind of damn. So we just have to come together as players and you know, talk to each other and you know, get back to the drawing board and, you know, find more wide open shots. We have a better percentage when we're shooting wide open shots rather than highly contested shots. So so it just comes down to that. So that was the difference in the game. If you watch the game, the highly contested shots, lower percentage. So can't really be explained. Can't really be explained. But I know we are a resilient team. We are a very tough team. And this is not going to deter us from our main goal, which is we came here to get the gold. And that's not going to deter us from anything. Nothing is lost. If we dig ourselves out in the hole, we have to dig ourselves out. So it's not a problem. I know my teammates will respond. We will respond. Coach will give us good strategies, and we're going to get back into it. So stay tuned. We're still here. Kenya is still here.
Thank you. Okay.
The game against Gabon was very close and Kenya lost. What do you think caused the final result?
The final result was tough. You know, we ended up losing today. Loss is never good, but you can always learn from it. So I think we got to just go regroup, fix what we did wrong today and what we did good versus Cote d'Ivoire, and just come back the next day ready to play.
Despite the loss, your team played with determination and competitiveness. how will you and your teammates learn from this, perform better in future matches?
I think they were pressuring us, so just making sure that we're executing our plays, knowing the spots we need to get to, and then get back to what we were doing, rebounding and getting in the gaps on defense. So just going back to that.
And can you send a message for the Kenyan fans?
Kenyan fans, just don't worry. We lost this one, but there's nothing to be worried about. We're going to go back and fix the things that we lost and come back the next day ready to win and continue on.
And one question, what is your motivation every day for have a good, positive game?
My motivation is just to be the best I can be every single day. Sometimes the shots aren't going to go in, but you can play good defense, or sometimes things aren't going to go your way, but just to regroup and just try hard every single day.
Welcome back, basketball fans. Welcome back. In the second game, the Kenya Morans matched up against Gabon, and the Kenya Morans, they lost this game 66-63. So let's just talk about this. So with this loss, still, Kenya tops Group A and will play on Thursday, awaiting the winner of the tie between the second place finisher in Group C and the third in Group D. So that's the Morocco versus Cameroon game. So the Kenya Morans are going to match up against either Morocco or Cameroon on Thursday. And today is a rest day. And this game, the Kenya Morans versus Gabon game, this happened yesterday. I didn't get a chance to react to it at the time. I just wanted to make sure that I checked out everything front to back, all that footage, and just give you guys some good content. So, yeah, man, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, run up them likes, how we do in this channel. Make sure to, hit the bell so that you can get notified on this video. So this video is going to come out later, so I'm just going to make sure to give my best to get you this content consistently. So fortunately for the Kenya Morans, despite the loss, we still finished top and we also managed to edge out the Ivory Coast team by points differential. So in Group A, all the teams, Kenya, Gabon, and Cote d'Ivoire, we were able to have a similar record, 1 game won, 1 game lost. And despite this, the point differential were used, and that's how we were able to understand Kenya proceeding to the next round, and also Gabon. So Cote d'Ivoire, they had to kick rocks. So, and one interesting thing I saw when I was watching the Gabon versus Cote d'Ivoire game, I saw the Kenya Morans looking at the game. So one would have wondered, what were they looking for? Because when I tuned in to watch the Kenya versus Gabon, on the onset, I saw a lot of confusion. A slight confusion, especially in the first quarter, but it all came to be exposed. The Gabon team just flat exposed Kenya in the third and dug ourselves way deep in the hole. Okay, the scores might not tell the whole story. You might think that Kenya were able to make sure to defend the basketball well, but the late game fouls that the Kenya Morans committed, especially Victor Ochieng, man, he was just fouling left and right. And one funny thing is, I saw this guy get 3 fouls in a span of a minute or two. So it was just hectic. And majority of the time, I must say, I even keep saying that the Kenya Morans, I'm not sure they have a definitive number 1, number 2, number 3 option. I even mentioned this when I was in the Tubonge Bake Spaces, that make sure check that place out, because that's the place where Kenyan basketball guys who just following the teams and also following basketball and with relationship to Kenya, we just congregate there and just talk about this. So I mentioned there's no alpha dog, number 1, number 2, number 3 option, and this thing really came to bite us in the back. But another curveball I would even to throw in there is, how is it that we don't even have someone to take on that role? We've seen veteran teams, we've seen veteran players in there that have the ability to take over the game and at least lead their team to wins. Let's say, for example, in the Gabon team, we had Larry Rosand Esono. That's the guy that dropped a massive, huge 3. on the elbow on Victor Chieng, and this just sparked like the grit that Gabon had. Why is that Kenya doesn't have like that type of guy? Long story short, we had that type of guy in Taylor Ongwae. He was the guy who was the alpha dog of the team. The team was structured around him, and after he left, we've never been able to fill that void, especially on offense and slightly on defense, because we didn't ask him to defend the ball too much. But anyway. But something interesting I saw, even before the Gabon game, Coach Cliff had this to say. So we need Eric Mutoro's confidence. Or was quoted by the Star Sports on Monday. He played badly against Ivory Coast, but we will still keep in on their starting lineup. I want Sivachi's expertise too, and might start him against Gabon. So you could see the complacency of Coach Cliff, and this is one of the reasons as to why Kenya is in this situation. We can't go up, we can't go down. We don't even know what we're doing. We dropped a coach that was there in training camp, and we brought in Coach Cliff, a coach that has been there when Kenya has been failing left and right, but the federation decided nevertheless to give him the benefit of the doubt and become the coach. This coach still insists on having Mutoro there, a guy that is very cold on three. He can't even make a three. His game in KBF does not translate into wins in the international stage, and Coach Cliff's complacency to keep this guy there is what is angering a lot of people, even myself, to be honest, and seeing this guy just keep jacking up threes and not even making anything. And one thing that I even saw is why have these three players, Mutoro, Grifo, and Bosire? I don't even see the need as to why we have all of these three players, and they all have similar production. All of them have similar production. The game is still the same. The game has been stagnant for years. I even saw a situation where, even when you look at their statistics, even from previous FIBA campaigns, you could see none has improved, none has even stepped up, and none can be able to play at that level and be able to winning basketball. But the over-insistence on over-reliance of these players is the reason why we're not able to get to that next level. And a guy like Ariel Ortega is not even getting any minutes. He received a DNP in the Gabon game. Okay, I know that it's not a must that all the players must play, but looking at the situation where you brought in this player and he was the MVP, you should at least give him some minutes in this contest to be able to see what he can produce. We have seen there's a limited and lack of production from this trio of Eric Mutoro, Bosire, and Grifo. These guys cannot give you nothing, especially defensively. They can't do nothing for you. Offensively, they are cold as ice. They can't give you any production whatsoever. And the over-insistence of Coach Cliff keeping these guys is what is hurting the team right now. So even going into the game after a 15-16 lead in the first quarter, Kenya looked to be cruising onto their second victory, especially behind Eugene Adera and Derek Ogechi's leadership in there. So we started off 32-27 going into the break. So Eugene Adera and Derek Ogechi were actually pretty good, especially Eugene, a guy that came into the team. This is his first FIBA campaign with the Kenya Morans, and this man has shown that he is that guy you can rely on, especially down the stretch. He's a guy that averages more drives to the rim than Griffin, than Eric Mutoro, than Bosire. He drives the ball, and he has that determination to score. And it's actually one of the main reasons as to why we have a good offense. You cannot run an offense on these other people because you don't even know what you're getting from these people. So Coach Cliff also said in the post game, I felt like we forced a lot of shots through. We needed to make extra baskets but lacked the right discipline. These are things that we still have to work on. So the thing is, one thing that I find interesting is the coach knows the problem, but he blatantly refuses to address it. Keeps these players, and knowing for a fact that they have limited production, you cannot rely on them on giving you consistent offense, and their reliability defensively down the stretch. And when we are confronted with these facts, the coach just does nothing and just over relies on these players. I saw Ken Washira not suiting up a lot, and especially in the fourth. Ariel Tega didn't play the whole game. The first game he played only 50 seconds, which I just feel like it was just a slap in the face. And looking at even the progression of the games, the way they are progressing, especially when you are going deeper into the contest, we're going to find teams that have the ability to offset us, and I don't think that we have the ability to stop them at that. And given the way the offense is, I know we're going to rely heavily on Eugene and Derek. So I feel like if we don't form like the good habits, especially scoring wise, and having the guys, operate on a string, especially defensively, it will just be an early exit. So then the Kenya Morans, I just saw this capitulation. I was waiting to see how the Kenya Morans are going to adjust, especially going into the second half. So, but in the third quarter, as I can say, was the peak of the capitulation performance we saw. So, to start with, the 2 turnovers from Fidel and Ogechi came first, all as Gabon, with all the grit that Gabon had. I mean, they had that mentality to beat Kenya at all costs. Remember, Kenya is ranked higher than Gabon. Gabon is just a team that has not been exposed to what Kenya has. And looking at even the game, I looked at the game again and I just gave it a closer look. I just saw a team that has the hunger to win and wants to prove a point, especially to Kenya, especially to us, showing us that, hey, you're not going to look past us, and we are the team that is going to give you problems. And they gave us problems, a lot of problems, especially the way we looked in that game was just embarrassing. I can say we didn't get blown out, but we just looked so inexperienced against them. They just looked and just knew what shots they needed to take, especially just to finish off. And this back and forth that went on, especially in the fourth, you could see at some point we were tied. At some point, they stole a lead from us in the third. At the fourth, it was actually quite tight. No team was able to score that much, but in the third is where they had huge scoring barrages. And I mean, the back and forth ensued until the last 2 minutes of the game, where Kenya, with the score 61-61, looked to panic. They gave away fouls and made hasty moves. And, well, I mean, that dagger 3 was hit on Victor, and that's it. So Kenya's defense was letting up a lot of points. I mean, it was just a sad thing to see, and it only took the effort of Brandon and Griffin, who cut the lead, and they effectively take a single point. They tried to stop the bleeding, and I mean, it was just one thing that I saw, that it was just an undoing, especially defensively. How can you have two of the tallest players in the tournament, and yet you average the least amount of blocks, the least amount of shots altered, the least amount of points generated from efficient post plays. You're not even creating nothing at the post. I mean, it was just sad thing to see. And also Bush, in the post game, he said, "We came here confident, but we did a few wrong things down the stretch. The stats tell the whole story. Our points were off, and we had a lot of turnovers that, of course, impeded our performance." So this is actually a funny thing from him to say, because I believe that they have to all be accountable. Going to hold the players, going to hold the coach, every single one. I mean, when you have a player like your 7-foot player there who just knows how to rebound and doesn't even ask the ball for the post, he gets hip checked a lot. I saw a situation where he couldn't even finish a lot of his shots. He didn't have an easy game, especially at the post. He was not able to feast anything. And honestly, this is one of the main reasons as to why, as much as the rebounding, we are getting good rebounding, especially a lot of them defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds. You're not getting putbacks, you're not getting kickouts, you're not getting any creation of the post. And this is actually one of the reasons why we don't even trust our three-pointers. Like, all the shots that we were missing, especially from three, we shot 3 out of 23. I mean, it was just a sad state of affairs. And even when I look at even the team comparison real quick, right, you could see Kenya, especially when it came to like field goal shooting on 2-pointers, 44%. But when it came to the three, I mean, this is where we just shot poorly. We shot 3 out of 23. Like, 2 threes were made by Ogechi, and I mean, 1 made by Grifo. And the other guys were just, jacking up them threes. They got Victor Brasire, who's 0 for 3, Victor Ochieng 0 for 2, Fidel Okoth 0 for 2. I don't even know what business he had even shooting a 3. Eugene Adera, that's expected. He's supposed to shoot a 3, but he missed it. I mean, the only 2 players that scored double digits were Derek and Eugene. So it was just a sad state of affairs. And on the line, 61%. Despite us even out rebounding, we had a lot of offensive boards in there. Like, as much as we had them, why is it that we couldn't even be able to like convert them and even like make sure to be able to like use that as a way to be able to like, get those points up? And at the end, I mean, it was just a sad state of affairs. We had 8 lead changes. I mean, points from the paint, we got outscored in the paint. I mean, points from turnovers, they got 16 points from turnovers. I mean, the turnover bug just really, really like destroyed us a lot. Even fouls. I mean, 19 turnovers. We're back to like, I feel like we just reverted back to like the way that we are accustomed to playing. 19 fouls, only had 1 block. They had 3 blocks. We only had 1. We're tied in assists with 12 assists. And we had at least 7 steals. So that was actually a good thing. And there was a seesaw. It was a seesaw, especially in the second half. So it was a seesaw game. But just like I said, we had like a DNP and Ariel Ortega. I mean, we had like almost similar production to like what we saw in the previous game. Derek Ogechi, I mean, he played heavy minutes. He played 32 minutes. He's actually the player that stayed on the court longer. He shot 40% from the field, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. He had a plus-minus for -2. I mean, the guy that had the highest negative plus-minus was Victor Ochieng. I mean, electric. He played 8 minutes. He attempted only 2 shots, which were threes. And he only had 1 rebound, 3 personal fouls, 1 turnover. So that was actually not a good outing at all. And not even being able to like, get into a good shooting stroke, and even not finding good looks in there really, really hampered our performance, especially from deep. And poor shot selection is one of them, because why is it that you're finding a player like, or Mutori, just getting the ball and just jacking up the 3? Not even looking at like where he shoots best. If you even sit down and ask them, like, where do you get your shots pretty well, they don't even know what answer they can tell you. Like, you seeing a guy like Fidel Okoth, but why is it that he's, he has no business jacking up threes? He should just work the post. They shouldn't be given the green light to be able to shoot like that. Eric Mutora 0 for 3. I mean, Griffin 1 of 2, a very streaky shooter. You don't even know what to expect on him in a game-to-game basis. Honestly, there's nothing there. I mean, Bush, he tried especially, but this game he didn't show up as much in the rebounds. He only had 6 rebounds, but the guy that was able to carry the day was Bram, and I don't even understand it. The other game, Bush was the guy who was dominating with 19 rebounds. This game, he was just off completely. The man had 4 personal fouls, 2 turnovers, plus-minus of +3. I mean, he ended the game with 6 points and 30 minutes played. So you could see it was necessary for him to play heavy minutes because he didn't have like that size in there. So, but efficiency is one thing when it comes to like you being a player and being given minutes. So that's that. But Eugene Adera, 26 minutes played. He's a guard that has come in and been given like free reins to operate the offense, he's actually much better than having Eric Mutoro, having Griffin, and also having Bosira on the team. I honestly feel like he does what they're doing better. I don't even know what that trio does efficiently. They can't shoot the ball efficiently. They can't be relied upon down the stretch, and they have proven time and time again to be a liability. And this is one of the main reasons as to why they should be phased out of the team. They keep getting brought back, and the big question is, why are they always getting brought back? And some even players, you can even stop them and even ask them, what do you exactly bring to a team that can justify the minutes that you're being given? I mean, I honestly feel if you're going to rely on these players, you'll keep them, Coach Cliff, but you're never going to win with them. Not even like gold, especially in a tournament. You had them in the previous run, produced nothing. You had them in the AfroBasket qualifiers, you only produced one singular win. You had these same players in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, 0 wins, and you presided and you were there when we were being beaten by 50 points. Why is it that you're still depending on these players and you're still thinking that they still need confidence? A guy like Eric Mutoro doesn't need confidence. This is a guy that has already been there in FIBA events and he's been there in FIBA campaigns, these competitions in the Morans. What confidence does he need? The guys like Eugene are outplaying him, and they're showing the coach and they're showing the Morans why he's valuable, and that's why he's getting north of 26 minutes in the game. And you can see his production: 12 points, 40% shooting from the field. He didn't make a three, but you can see on the line he made majority of his free throws. He struggled a bit with some 3 turnovers and 2 personal fouls, but he had 2 assists and 2 rebounds. So you could see Eugene is that guy that you can go down the stretch. But one thing I saw, especially at the end of the game, is like, who's going to take the last shot? You could see Eugene was bringing the ball up court, and he was dishing it out. He was bringing it up. He was giving it to Ogechi. Ogechi gave it back to him. He wanted to give it to Bush. The time was running down, actually. Then it ended up as a 2-point layup, and they needed at least a 3 to like cut it. But if you look at it, like who is your go-to guy, especially down the stretch? You could see like in the Kenya versus Angola game that we were able to like win and get to the AfroBasket. You saw who's the last guy, who's the guy who's gonna take the last shot. And you saw Tailongwa, everyone just was an ISO play, everyone moved out the way, he hit that buzzer beater, the rest is history, right? But in this game, you saw a situation where you have a player in Eugene, a guy that is in his first Morans campaign. He's asking for the ball down the stretch, while other people like Bush are there and they're not even asking for the ball. They're just there and they're just fumbling with it. So you could see there's no clear visionary leadership, especially on the floor. And why is it that we are still relying on like having this trio of Griffin, Bosira, and Mutoro on the team, yet they're not even those guys who are going to even take the last shot if they're going to take it? I honestly feel the main reason as to why Eugene Adera was not able to like take the last shot was because when he missed it, or when something happened and he bricked it, God forbid it didn't happen, but he got that layup in there, all the blame will be channeled on him, and all the mistakes on these other legacy players that I keep mentioning will be swept under the rug, and they're going to point the blame to him. Well, he's the guy who's doing like majority of facilitating the offense, while these guys take a back seat. And when the win comes in, you can see them just come out and they feel like they are the ones who have contributed to it. Yet these are players who, Eric Mutoro, 9 minutes played, 0 points. Griffin, 7 points, 37% shooting from the field. 2 of 6 on 2-point field goals. This is a guy who can't even make a field goal. Mid-range shots, he can't. You're seeing a guy like Victor Bosire, 13 minutes played. Getting like 13 minutes, 3 points, 0 for 5 shooting. All the points that Victor Bosire made were from the line. 3 turnovers, 1 personal foul. Eric Mutoro, He had 4 assists, so that was a good thing. But he had, 1 personal foul in there. And he also had 1 steal. But you could see, like, his production offensively was not there. He's a guy that on field goals, he only attempted a 2-point field goal, which missed. And the others were 3-point attempts, despite playing 9 minutes. So this was it was embarrassing. Very embarrassing. A guy like Ken Oshiro, he was only given 4 minutes. The other game he played 9 minutes, but he wasn't able to get a shot off. He went 1 for 1 on the field from the field, and then 2 free throws. So that's 4 points. Didn't do like that much offensively. But I must say, on the record, I'm giving some guys a hall pass. A guy like Kennedy Oshiro, Eugene, Bramwell, Ariel Ortega, Sivachi, those are guys who, or even Derek Ogechi, I'm going to give them a hall pass in there. But there are guys who are not going to get a hall pass. Fidel Okoth, Victor Ochieng, Bush, Eric Mutoro, Griffin Igari, and Bosire. Those are guys who are not supposed to be given a hall pass whatsoever. And electric. No hall pass given to you people, because you are the people who have played in the national team longer, and you are the same people that are costing us the team and costing us wins in games that matter. Victor Ochieng, electric. You're a good basketball player, but when it comes to in-game decisions, bro, you're not that guy, You're not that guy. Eric Mutoro, you're not that guy. Griffin, you're not that guy who can lead us to wins. And I must say that, I just say that with all confidence when I look at all the games that I've seen. I've seen a lot of games. And those guys, that legacy team that the KBF guys put them there, they're not going to give us anything significant. The main production is coming from the new guys who have joined in. I know Derek Ogechi has been the team, but he's been on the team, but he has not played for the Kenya Morans previously to this campaign. So guys who are going to carry us to the end, Derek Ogechi, Kennedy Oshiro, I still believe in the guy. We've got Eugene, Bramwell, and Ariel Ortega if you give him minutes, and Sivachi. I'm going to give those guys, I'm going to say that they might still give us a chance to be in this, because the others are just locked out. Mentally, their heads just dropped, especially in the last few minutes of the fourth. I never saw any production. You could see turnovers. You could see how valiantly Adera was trying to set up his teammates. They're not even getting those assists. I've seen a couple of possessions where Bush gets hip checked a lot inside, and they just give media formulated platitudes like, oh, we didn't have good shot selection, we didn't have this. And reality is, these guys have been this way for the longest time. These players have played the same way for years, and nobody has ever even asked them what have you improved in the game. These are a guy like Bush he plays for APR. But you could see when he plays for the national team, it's like this guy doesn't know how to play basketball at all. You can see his footwork. He gets hip checked a lot. I've not seen a single good post play that he has done, footwork. Every time he grabs the ball, he gets hip checked. Even easy layups that he can make just below the rim, he just relies on the referee just to call the foul. He's not a guy who's going to absorb contact and put the ball in. So that's one thing I've seen, and it's something that I don't think that's going to be fixed when we keep some players on the roster. Some players just gotta go, honestly. And I feel like they're going to be the main reason as to why you're not able to get to that next level. When you meet a team let's say a team like Tunisia, a team like Congo DR, who have been terrorizing us a lot, especially in these tournaments, I don't know how you're going to be able to take care of those guys. So, man, it is what it is. So, guys, I know this has been a long video, just me talking, but trust me, the conversation never stops from here, because I took some time to just to try to be rational with it all, just try to make sure that I have all the facts in there. And man, I've just seen a lot of crazy and wild things. And looking at these players, I must say, after this campaign, there are players who are supposed to be cut immediately from this. And I don't feel like it will be any justice if they get another call-up. Players who have already played there and they have not even performed anything. And we already have all the stats to prove this. If you know you have been playing for that team and you have not produced anything, especially given the successful FIBA campaigns and call-ups you've been given, you gotta go. There are players who just gotta go. And you should rebuild the team around Adera, Ogechi, Ken Washira, Ariel Ortega. And Sivachi. You should build the team around these guys, and also Bram in there. But all these others should just go. Honestly, they should all go. Bush, I'm throwing it under because, man, his production has been poor. At least he was able to make his free throws when he went to the line 4 times. Sometimes when he throws a free throw, I'm just shaking on my seat because this guy throws it like he doesn't want to throw it. I mean, Fidel Okothi misses his free throws when you want 1 for 3. I mean, there are guys who, even looking at your guards, like a guy like Eric Motora, a guy who can even be able to make a layup. He has not even gone to the line, not once. Griffin Ligari, he has not even gone to the line. He can't even draw fouls, and you're a guard. So it just tells you, this just tells me everything I need to know. You can't rely on these guys for instant offense. They don't have the ability to draw fouls, all that. And when someone asks, why the Kenya Morans lost this game, you can say it's because we were not able to score more points. But if you look at the nuances and even knowing who you are supposed to entrust to the number 1, 2, or 3 scoring option, we don't even know anything. It's just freestyle basketball in there. Guys think that they can play the way they want to play. You have centers. You have a center like Bush in there. Sometimes you even wonder if he knows what position he's playing. Asking for the ball in the perimeter. Don't even know how to set up good screens. Don't know how to roll hard to the basket. I've never seen a successful pick and roll from that guy, despite being having that size and having that length. I've not seen any low pass, no dunks from the Kenya Moran side, getting dunked on a lot. So just so much. And the funny thing is, even the guy down the stretch from Gabon, he's an old player torching us. So is it an agent issue? Is it like a skill issue? Because we are supposed to be one of the most skilled guys in there, given the roster. You can see the talent in the roster. We're supposed to be the most skilled guys, but you're seeing other teams that are beneath us outclassing us. So if they are going to be able to do that, what makes Kenyans think that even when we meet a team like either Morocco or Cameroon, what are they going to do to us? Because I'm pretty sure those guys are not messing around. They're going to fight in that game tomorrow. I'm pretty sure by the time this video is being released, they will have already played, or even we already know who's gonna play there. So I mean, they're hungry to win, and Kenya is just Kenya is just lackadaisical in there. So yeah, man. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments on what you think. I mean, this video, I just had a lot to say, man, because I mean, the other video, I didn't mention a lot of things, but this one I just had to add in. And sorry for the long video, but you just have to bear with me because, man, I had just had a lot to say in this video. So yeah, I'm out. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. Peace out.
Kenya, and you know that Kenya will have pretty much instructed the exact opposite, trying to force the issue here and work themselves back into this game with a pair of three-pointers, or at least a three-pointer and a regular double score. 20 seconds to go. Maintained possession. That one controlled by Eugene Adera. He'll hold in the middle. Shot clock is gone. He needs to sink this, and he needs another, and that likely is not going to be enough as Adera skips by one. Will go for the layup and gets it to sink, but with 1.44 seconds to go, that's not going to be enough time, as Gabon will defeat Kenya 66-63, and every team in the group finishes with a record of 1-1. And if you're Cote d'Ivoire, well, you have to be looking on thinking you could have gotten that win against Kenya, considering the result in this one. It'll be interesting to see how everything really shakes out through the rest of the day as these teams continue to vie for that July 16 final. Still a late opportunity for Kenya to get some points, but this will be Gabon possession. And that will do it for the game as Gabon take this one by a three-pointer. A miraculous comeback at points where things looked all but lost for Gabon, and it looked as though Kenya was going to top the group with a 2-0 record.